Hello, welcome to Just My Thoughts. I'm your host Khalil Ward, and I am live streaming. I know I say I'm going to do this more, but I never really know what to talk about, so I never do it. I've been doing more, shorts and reels for TikTok and Instagram Live, so I'll try to do more live streams, but this is what you get now. Going to wait a little bit, see if people come in, ask questions, but I do have some topics I want to talk about. Recent reviews, Madam Web, more spoilers with that discussion. Talk about the MCU a little bit and my favorite movies this year that I watched, and then finish it off with some Netflix recommendations since people are always saying, yo, give me some recommendations on Netflix. I don't know what to watch. So I made a little list. It's not everything I've watched on Netflix, not everything I have on Netflix, but it's just a short list with different categories that you can check out. But let's talk about some recent reviews that I have. Of course, Madam Web, I'll talk about that later. But my biggest disappointment, I would say, this year is probably Argyle. I know the year is short, but I was looking forward to the movie. Um, it was Matthew Vaughn. It had a great cast, and I was just so disappointed that it just didn't have that action that I was expecting. Um, it wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. It fell flat, for me. And that was like the first movie I was really excited to go see this year in theaters because again, like I said, I already know with January, February, they're going to be movies that's not too good. Like I seen ISS, and I knew it was going to be pretty bad. I didn't have high hopes for that, and it wasn't great, but I went in there like, it's just going to be a January movie release. When I seen the trailer, I was like, I'm going to see it, even though I know it might not be that good. Uh, but I've watched some good TV shows recently. I would say Reacher 2 on Amazon Prime, really good. Definitely recommend that. Part one is good. Part two, season two is a little bit better because you get a little bit more about Reacher in his past, and you see him with his friends a little bit more this season. And I thought it was really well done. Can't wait for season three. Um, I'm going to butcher the name of this, but it's a Netflix show, and I'll talk about that during my recommendations. But Jung Song Creatures on Netflix, Korean, really dope. This guy is tasked with finding someone, and he learns that they're like in this hospital, but it's like a prison, and a whole bunch of things go down. They discover a lot of stuff, and people come together, people are lost. But it was really well done, and I give a big shout out to like the foreign section on Netflix in terms of like their movies and TV shows. I really love their stuff. It's really good. And the biggest surprise for me this year so far in terms of TV, Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Prime, and I really enjoyed it. I went in like I don't really need this, but then I saw the trailer and I was like, it looked cool. It looks pretty cool. And I went in and I watched all of the episodes in like 2 days, and I was like, this is dope. It's different enough from the movie, where you can just enjoy both. You don't have to always compare them, and it's a different take on Jane and John Smith. So it was dope to watch that unfold, and I highly recommend that because I know a lot of people are like, why are they making this? The movie is fine, but the TV show is good, and you don't always get that. You have movies and then they spin off into TV shows. It might not be good, and vice versa, but it's a good show. It's a really good show. Um, let's talk about Madam Web. Okay. Spoilers. I spoiled it in my review, but I didn't spoil everything in terms of like what I really disliked about the movie. And a lot of people have talked about it um, just being really bad, and it just seems like Sony in general doesn't have a direction. And with this particular movie, you can see they were just throwing things at the wall and hoping it would stick. No pun intended. But like you see the trailer, and it's like going in, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, Madam Web is looking out for these girls and they're going to be superheroes and she's going to mentor them. And it's like, you don't really, no, you don't get that. She accidentally activates her powers, takes her a while to understand them. The girls are not really in the movie that much, and then they're not in costume very long. They're not even in costume in scenes that's taking place in the present. Everything is in the future, and you see them do like two things each. And they don't even have lines while they're in the costume. It's just like quick shots like you see in the trailer, and it's like boom, boom, boom. It's like, what is going on? But this particular section of the movie, after she, I guess, understands how her power works because she saves a pigeon from hitting the window, she gets on the train and she sees all the girls die by this guy. And then she saves the girls, right, from the barefoot guy. The guy, I guess for a visual aspect, they made him look like a Spider-Man because there's no way he could have just changed that fast. So I guess just for the audience, it's like, look, a spider person. We have him in the movie. Like he transforms in the subway, right? And it's New York City, even though it's 2003 in this movie, but it's people in there. It's cameras down there. And he's essentially killing these cops, throwing them at the train, pulling them all different places. He's doing all this. The girls run away. He's knocking all these cops out. They get in the taxi. Immediately, they're like, 3 girls are kidnapped by this lady. How did they get that out so fast? And they didn't see this Spider-Man guy throwing cops around. Just made no sense to me. And then she drives them out to Jersey into the forest. She's like, I'll be back in 3 hours. Stay here. Do, whatever, do this. She comes back. It's nighttime, right? It hasn't been a week. It hasn't been 2 weeks. It's the same day, 3 hours later. And the girls go to this diner. And for some reason, I don't know how this is possible. The guy in the diner is reading the newspaper, and on the front of the newspaper is like 3 girls kidnapped. In 3 hours? How is it on the front page news at some diner in the middle of nowhere? Like, how is that news? I don't understand. Like, I'm like, what? And of course, she comes and saves him and hits him with a car because that's her move, because her powers don't work for combat. It's just to see things, and then she can hit him with a car. And then another part, when she finally comes back from her trip to Peru or whatever, and she's looking for the girls and for Ben, they already had a head start. So she steals the ambulance and she's like seeing the premonition of where they're going to be at. She drives through some parking structure. I don't know how she got there so fast. And she drives through a parking structure, through a billboard to hit the guy in air with an ambulance. And the ambulance is fine. Like the car, it just landed regular, like Fast and Furious or something. But like, what parking structure is that you can't, like, where is that in the city? I'm confused. And everybody's making fun of the end where he gets killed by a Pepsi sign or whatever. But it's like, the movie doesn't know what it wants to do. There's no clear direction, because you have Ben Parker, you have a sister pregnant, and they never want to say Peter. Like, why? At least with Morbius, like, I know the trailers for Morbius was terrible because they kept just showing Spider-Man everywhere and different characters from Spider-Man. But they had a beginning, middle, and end. Guy's sick, looking for cure, gets bat stuff, gets stronger. His friend needs the cure, doesn't want to give it to him because of side effects. Friend steals it, becomes evil bat person. They tussle, fight, or whatever. Like, beginning, middle, end. This movie was just like, we don't know what we want to do. We just going to name Spider people, and hopefully people will see that there's a Spider-Man character looking person in the trailer, and there's some Spider Women in the trailer, and they'll come see it, and we'll get some butts in the seats. But it's just like, the movie, could this have been a good movie? Like a Madam Web movie? Can a Madam Web movie be good? In the right hands, probably. Anything could probably be good in the right hands. But like this particular movie was just so broken. Like, they own the rights to Spider-Man. If you're going to use the characters, use the characters. Yeah, this person is pregnant with Peter. And she's like making jokes about Ben getting shot in Queens, making jokes about Ben having to take responsibility of the kid because his sister's going to die. Like, it didn't make sense. And then the villain, they dubbed over his lines. He didn't make sense. Like he didn't do anything. Like he wanted this power of the spider. That's why he killed uh Madam Web's mom, to get the spider with this super venom, whatever, to give you powers. But it's not like he went and did stuff. Like he's not some criminal mastermind that's trying to take over the world or trying to get some product made. Bad guy stuff. He's literally just, I got money, I had a dream. Some women are gonna come kill me, and they got spider abilities. It don't make sense. Like, why would they? You're in your house chilling, watching TV, and then somebody kicks on the door, and it's a spider person, and they're trying to fight you, and you're bouncing off the wall. Like, why are you trying to kill me? And they just kick him out the window. He's not even committing a crime. He's just there. So it's like, what's your motivation as a villain? You killed the lady in cold blood in another country, took the spider, kept the spider, got the abilities. What are you doing with it? Why are you the bad guy? There's like no motivation. In movies, something happens and pushes the person to be a bad guy. Or, I want to conquer this. There's none of that. It's just find the spider. Oh, I'm gonna kill this lady and run away. Now I'm cursed. It just makes no sense at all. It's what's up, Tej? Yeah, I'm glad you didn't watch in the theater. That's what, like, if I see something really, really bad in the theater, I'm probably going to spoil it for people, because there's certain things in movies where it's just like, this is terrible. You could have done better. You could have tried harder, to make this better. And I don't think they tried at all. They just said, hey, we have to keep making movies to keep the license. And they keep going through villains. Okay, I enjoyed Venom. I'm not gonna lie. I like Venom 1 better than Venom 2. Craven, I'm not excited about, but I'm going to go see it. And, for people like me who go to the movies, I don't mind going to see a bad movie, because sometimes I know it's going to be bad. Like I knew, I told people, Matt Web is going to suck. Can't wait to see it. ISS is probably going to suck. Can't wait to see it. So I'm used to that thing. I don't want people who barely go to the movies to like, oh, Madam Web, oh, spider people. And then they go in and it's like, what is this? So disappointing. The hair, thought it was finna be something to go see. Not. I would say stream it just for the fun of it, but it wasn't enjoyable. It's not even like enjoyable bad, because I love bad movies. Shout out to Cinephobe. I enjoy a bad movie. If it's, this movie was not rated good, I'm gonna watch it. There's so many bad movies like that I've watched and reviewed, like, I really enjoyed it. But this is not even like fun, because she doesn't do anything. Like literally her powers is deja vu. Oh man, didn't we just have this conversation? Or somebody gets hit by a car and then it's like, what just happened? And that person gets hit by a car anyway. And then she finally figures it out at the end where she can dodge fireworks. That's the big final scene. Fireworks. That they mentioned in an earlier scene, like, this fireworks factory is really dangerous. People can get killed here. And they go back there and it's just a bunch of fireworks. She uses fireworks to blow up a hole in the wall so they can get to the roof. And then the Pepsi sign kills this guy. And her mastering her ability is like, she can be, the guy tells her, you can be in multiple places at once. Sounds cool. Yo, you could be multiple places at once. Literally 10 feet apart. She splits off into 3 people, and then she gives each girl a pep talk like, hey, I'm going to save you. Everything is going to be all right. That's her mastering her ability. Like literally here, and then she goes 1, 2, 3. And that's it. And I was just like, oh, this is terrible. This is really bad. Like, really bad. It's a bad movie. And a lot of people talked about it, and it's just like, they could have done better, but it's like the studio gets involved. Hey, we can't do this. We can't talk about this. You got to take this out. And it's unfortunate. Like, do I want the movies to be bad? No, I want to go to the movies to be entertained. That's the whole reason I go see movies. I watch TV shows. I want to be entertained. It doesn't always have to be the same thing. This could have been a different type of movie. And you'll see that with my Netflix recommendations. It's just so vast. But yeah, Madam Web is bad. Just really, really bad. And you shouldn't go see it. Honestly, it's not going to be in theaters very long, but it's just not a good movie. And I've seen people comparing it to other bad comic book movies, it's towards the bottom of the list. I'm not gonna go through all the other comic book movies that are bad, but it's towards the bottom of the list because it's just you can see the characters not even believing things that's happening in the movie. They there. Like, oh, you cut the check? Cool, I'll show up. They're not like even into being the character. Like Cassie Webb is terrible. She's an EMT. She's just terrible. She don't know how to deal with people. She's just a terrible person. And then she's just taking care of these girls. And all of a sudden she has this vast wisdom. Very, very strange. Let's move on off of Madam Web. Oh, another recent review that I had, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. It's DC animated. It's a part of the new DC animated Tomorrowverse. So you have the original DC animated stuff that I was reviewing, like, Flashpoint Paradox and, all the different Batman movies. That's their own universe. That ended with Justice League War Apocalypse. Now they have like this Tomorrowverse. I want to say it's like 7 or 8 movies. I haven't reviewed them all, but it's like Superman, Man of Tomorrow, something else. There's a Green Lantern movie in there I didn't watch, but there's Justice League War World that I reviewed recently, and then you have this first part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's okay, but it doesn't have a lot of action. There's some cool scenes between characters meeting each other from different Earths. That was very entertaining. But like I said in my review, not a lot of action. You're not turning this on and see somebody get into some type of fight. However, they dropped a trailer for Part 2, and Batman Beyond is going to be in there. In that trailer, it looks action-packed. You see people getting into fights, and you see all these different characters from all these different Earths really doing stuff. And I think, and I said in my review, Part 2 seems like it's going to be the one where you get the action and you get the fun. So I hope Part 2 is good. It didn't have a release date, but I hope it comes out soon so I can check it out. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really good. And then Part 3, of course, close it out, and hopefully it's good. In terms of other recent reviews, I saw some movies late. So I saw American Fiction, and I saw Poor Things this year rather than last year because I wasn't trying to stress myself out. Really enjoyed them. They were super dope. Poor Things, very different. I would say that different, but it's funny. And it's some great performances, great costumes. Definitely something you should check out. Just by the characters that's in it. William Dafoe, Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, all of them in there are it's a lot of fun and just quirky, a little different. American Fiction, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to see it in theaters. Had a great time with it. Again, another incredible cast of characters. A great story in terms of like this writer who is not getting anything published, and he sees like that people are clamoring for like essentially ghetto Black stuff. So he's like, all right, I could do that, whatever. And as a joke, he writes this crazy story, and he uses a different name or whatever, and he gives it to his publisher, and the guy's like, okay, I'll send it to some people, and everybody loves it. And he's like, what? And they like offering him a lot of money, and a lot of things are happening in his life. He needs the money, and he tries to take it a little bit further, like doing stuff, and then the people are like, I don't know. Okay, yeah, sure, you can do that too. And he's like, what is going on? I don't want this. And it's really dope. I had a good time with American Fiction and Poor Things. Definitely something you should check out. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Let's talk about the MCU, right? See a lot of people having discussions, MCU this, MCU that. Deadpool, Wolverine. I'm excited. I like Deadpool character, big Wolverine fan. The trailer was just the right stuff, just the right. I would like to see one more trailer. I don't need a bunch of footage. One more trailer, and I'll be fine. I think nowadays we get a little bit too much. Everybody wants to see everything and then have an opinion when things aren't finished. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, we got a lot of set photos of Wolverine and Deadpool, and it's just like, just let them make the movie. Like, when it gets here, it gets here. And I think That's what's messing up a lot of the discourse, particularly about the MCU nowadays, because it's everybody wants everything at once instead of being patient. Like when Iron Man first came out, it was just like, yo, this is Iron Man. It's like, all right, whatever. It's a superhero movie. It's not gonna work. And then it hits, and you're like, okay, I like that. Let me get it. Then they do the Incredible Hulk, and you're like, and they come back with Iron Man 2. You're like, I don't know. But then I think the biggest thing with the MCU right now is the post-credit scenes are not hitting like they used to. And maybe that's because they don't always shine. What's good? What's up? How you doing? I think a big problem is like the post-credit scenes are not hitting. And I don't know if it's they don't know where they're going with the story. I don't know if it's they just left it open-ended after Endgame because we had progression to things. It was like, yo, we're building up to Avengers. Okay, we're building up to Avengers. Okay, we get Infinity War. We were building up to these things, introducing these characters that's going to show up in this Endgame. And it worked. It worked. People loved it. It worked. And then after Endgame, I think the audience wanted like, yo, continue. Just keep doing that, yo. We want more. Build it up again. And I think Marvel, I think they were like, okay, we can introduce some other characters. We can do TV stuff and just have characters doing stuff. And then eventually we'll get back to Avengers. And I think they stumbled. I would say they stumbled. The pandemic didn't help when they had to push things back and, all that stuff didn't help. But then I don't mind the TV shows. They're not all great. Well, Secret Invasion is terrible. That's really bad. I didn't mind What If season 1 or season 2. I thought Hawkeye was really good. She-Hulk I really liked. WandaVision. And I know people were like, oh, you got to watch the TV shows to watch the movies and blah, blah, blah. I took my mom to see Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. She never watched WandaVision. She watched the movie. She was like, oh, that was cool. I said, you understood her motivation? Yeah, she had some kids and she wanted to get them back. She's watched other MCU movies, but she didn't watch the TV show. She got it. So I don't think you have to watch the TV shows to enjoy the movies, but I think the first couple of phases, they were building towards Avengers. And then Thanos was coming, So like if you look back, like I was looking at post-credit scenes and you have Iron Man 2 and their post-credit scene is Thor's hammer. And guess what the next movie is? Thor. It's answered immediately, like we get Captain America, the first Avenger, and then his post-credit scene is him in the Avengers. Like in the next movie is the Avengers. Like that's how it was building up. We were seeing things like that. Even in like Winter Soldier, we get one post-credit scene showing the twins, which is building up to the Avengers. Ant-Man probably had like one of the best post-credit scenes where it's Cap and Falcon and they have Bucky and they have his arm in a little joint and that's building up to Civil War. And it's like, they're not doing that anymore. So like we get post-credit scenes where Shang-Chi and it's like, we don't know where these rings are coming from. And it's sending out a signal. And you got Captain Marvel, you got Hulk, you have Wong, you have all these people in this post-credit scene. It was like, yo, what's going to happen? Man, that was in 2021. We still don't know what it was doing. So it was like, I think Marvel were like, yeah, I know it's the multiverse saga, and I think they were trying to throw out things to just showcase different people and bring in a whole bunch of different things. So it kind of messed things up where it's like no clear direction. And I know they mentioned Kang and then all that stuff with Jonathan Majors, and they're not doing Kang Dynasty anymore. They just need to find something like a road that is leading to. And I think they will be fine. And just the discussion is going to keep getting louder and louder because that's where we are nowadays with information. Everybody wants everything right now. Like the whole Fantastic Four discussion, Discord, it's just like, who's going to be the Fantastic Four? And everybody's coming up with their fan casting, which I hate. Oh, this person should definitely be it. Why? Because they kind of look like the comic book guy. Like that doesn't matter. Like if the person can act and they have the script and the person can follow the script and bring the action, it's like it's gonna work. Look at Hugh Jackman with Wolverine. It's like Wolverine's supposed to be some short dude, and Jackman is huge. And we didn't know who he was, and then this is like, all right, he was good. Okay, X2, he is nice. Oh, okay. This is Wolverine. We have our Wolverine. Same thing with RDJ and Iron Man. It's like RDJ, the guy that's been getting in trouble. Yeah, he's a good actor, but is he really? He's Iron Man. We need Iron that now after he dies. We need Iron Man back. We need RDJ back. So like Heath Ledger, the guy from The Knight's Tale. I enjoyed that movie. He's the Joker? Really? He's going to be the Joker? Well, he can't be the Joker. They should have got this person because this person looks kind of crazy. Oh, it's called acting for a reason. The people can act. They can be different people. That's the thing. So with Fantastic Four, it's like, this is who they cast. This is the story that they have. I'm pretty sure after all the blowback and all the missteps and everything and Ant-Man and the Wasp not doing great, blah, 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 I think Marvel is trying to lock in a little bit. And I think they're going to have a good idea of what they want to do with the Fantastic Four, not just for their first movie, but for potential sequel and Avengers type movies. So the cast that they pick, that's who they picked. Let them make the movie. Like, they didn't start shooting the movie. Let them make the movie before you start. Oh my God, why did they pick this? They should have picked John Krasinski. Why? Because fans casted him before, and then as a nod, they put him in Doctor Strange. Oh my God, he should have been. Like, you don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know the story. Pedro can't do it. How do you know? So people are like always writing things in their head, and I think they like, oh, Marvel should do this because I thought of it, and this would be the best idea. And if they don't do it, it's just like they did it wrong. Let them work. Let them do their thing. Because they keep, the MCU is falling off. It's not the same, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we got Thor Love and Thunder, and it was a quick turnaround from what I hear. And yes, I would have loved to see more Gore, the God Butcher. It wasn't as good as Ragnarok, but it was like really short. And it didn't land like Ragnarok. Then we get Black Panther 2, and it was a tragedy. So we got what we got, and I thought it was well done, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And honestly, I think if Ant-Man stayed in the quantum realm, people wouldn't be as upset. Like the fact that he got out, I think people are more upset than they have to be. And then we come through with Guardians 3. Guardians 3 is just like incredible. Great send-off. Thank you, James Gunn. Incredible. And then people, the Marvels. I say it on Instagram. I say it all the time. Like, people out there don't like women. Like, that's just, it's a fact. They don't want to support women. So they already don't like Captain Marvel for some reason. People are like, oh, who's this person? Like, the movie made $1 billion. People know who Captain Marvel is, right? Then you have multiple women starring in a movie, and it's directed by a woman. Then they're afraid to support it. It's so weird. And they were bashing the movie before it came out. Well, nobody want to see this. Like, Kamala Khan is fantastic. And like, I don't think people understood that. Like, these characters are fantastic. The movie is great. And now it hits Disney Plus. And everybody's like, oh, the Marvels. It was fun. It has some mistakes, some problems in it, but it was fun. Isn't that the point of going to the movies? Always shine. We don't talk about Love and Thunder. Like, Love and Thunder, are there some mishaps? Yes, there is. Is it as bad as Dark World? No. Is it as good as Ragnarok? No. Is it probably better than Thor 1? Maybe, because I think the character's tone that they found in Ragnarok is still there in Love and Thunder. It's a little bit too jokey, and it should have been a little bit more serious with Gore. If they would have showed a montage of Gore killing some gods, I think it gets better. Like, we got them going to, see Zeus and everything, and that was funny and cool to see different gods and everything. But if you split cut that with now Gore is destroying more gods, people are not as upset. That's what I think. Is it a great movie? No. Have I watched it multiple times? Yes. I've seen it in theaters twice. That's just what I do. But like, it's not the end of the world, when it comes to the MCU. It's been hiccups. There's always going to be hiccups, but I think they have good stories to tell. I think they have good movies out there. Like Shang-Chi, I thought was really good. There should have been a part 2 by now. There should have been some answer to that post-credit scene by now. But it's just like they start doing other stuff. But I really enjoy Shang-Chi, and it's like, oh, we're looking for a face to carry it like Iron Man and Captain America. Well, give them some movies. Let them do some stuff. You're not giving them the movies. You're not giving them the chance to carry different franchises. And people are just going to be mad about certain things. Oh, we don't want this, so we're going to bash it. Kind of like the Marvels. Before it comes out, we're going to bash it. Are there bad things? Yes, Secret Invasion is really bad. It's really bad. Like I don't know. When I say they don't have a direction, Secret Invasion is just they don't have a direction. They don't know what they wanted to do with that. And it's just baffling the decisions that they made in that show. It's really not good. But other TV shows are good. Like Hawkeye is a really good show. And the fact that you get to see Kate Bishop come to the big screen too, it's going to be dope. I think it's going to be really dope. She-Hulk was good. Moon Knight was good. Is it the best of the best and the best TV show ever? No. I'm not expecting it to be. Like I said, I want to be entertained with these things. Everything is not going to hit 100% of the time. So it's just lower your expectations with some of these things. Like lower your expectations for Deadpool and Wolverine, because you're going to be like, yo, you're going to watch all these breakdowns. And I watch the breakdowns. So I like New Rockstars. I like Screen Crush, Heavy Spoilers. I like those guys. I watch them all the time to catch up on stuff, things I miss. And they're going to have theories. That's all they are, theories. Hey, I think this is going to happen. Hey, I think this is going to happen. Hey, I think this is going to happen. People are going to watch that and then put it in their head like this will happen in the movie. And if it doesn't, then they'll be disappointed. If they keep telling themselves, oh, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to do this because Deadpool is this type of character and this is what Deadpool does. This should happen. This should happen. This person should be here. This person should be here. And if those people don't show up, they're going to be like, I was disappointed this didn't happen because this is what I thought for 2 years or whatever. It's like, lower your expectations. Do I think the movie's going to be good? Great. Yeah. I like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Jackman as Wolverine. Love him. Love his portrayal of this character for this long. And I think it's going to be fun. But I'm not like, yo, I need everybody from the Fox universe in here. I need them to bring this person back so they could kill him and do this. Yes, I've seen some of the set photos, but I don't need to see any more stuff because if people are going to get their expectations too high and start making up things in their mind, and it's not going to deliver. And that's the problem with the MCU in general. People are trying to, do too much. Moving on to another topic. I talked about favorite movies, but in general, things that I watched this year that I'm going to talk about, Percy Jackson and the Olympians on Disney Plus. I thought it was really good. I watched the first movie, never read the book. So I watched the first movie and I was like, yeah, it's okay. It was at the time all those movies were coming out. I was like, yeah, it's okay. Then people were talking about the show and I'm like, I don't know. It's Percy Jackson. And I heard it was good. So I go in there. I'm like, yo, this is pretty good. Really good. Different. Again, never read the books. Different from the movie. I hear it's more in line with the book. He's a little bit younger, figuring things out. And I'm like, oh, this is good. I watched a Donnie Yen movie, Sakura. It's a movie he stars in and he, co-directed. He's this like leader of this gang, and he has like this energy. Everybody in there has like some type of energy that they can control, and he rescues people, but he also does, bad things, take things and steal and all that stuff. And he comes across, he has this like big gang and they're like, "Yo, you adopted, but you're from a rival like nation or whatever." He didn't know that. He was raised by them, so he thought that's who he is. And they like find out that he's the rival, and they're like, "Yo, we can't follow you no more. You can't be the leader. You got to go." Oh, and you killed this lady's husband. So he's like, um, "I'm gonna go." And like it's supposed to be some ritual where they stab him. So he's like, I'm gonna do it myself. He stabs himself like 4 or 5 times. He puts his sword down. He's like, "I'm no longer the leader. I'm gonna find some answers, and I'll be back." And then he goes off. He goes to his adopted parents to find out like where he really came from. They're dead. Somebody sees him there. They're like, "Yo, you killed your parents." He goes to see like his mentor. He's dead. Somebody sees him there. They're like, "Yo, you killed him." And everybody is like after him. He's like, "I didn't do this." He eventually rescues like this young lady, and he's like trying to get her help because somebody hit her with some powerful attack, and he kind of protected her. And he's still struggling to find out who he really is and where he really came from. And he gets to a point where it's Donnie Yen, so he has to fight. And the fighting is really well done. And all the people he fights and takes on is like crazy. And the reason he's fighting is just like he told them before, like, "I don't want to fight any one of you. I don't want to, shed blood because you raised me. I grew up with you." But it gets to a point where it's like, we have to fight to the death. And it's pretty dope. And it ends on like a cliffhanger type thing where it's like, is there going to be another movie? Because I wouldn't mind seeing another movie, but it is really good. Another movie I watched is Maboroshi. It's on Netflix. It's an anime, but it's not like an action anime. It's more of like a romance type thing where this explosion at this factory happens and this town is basically stuck in time. So like you see a pregnant lady and she's like 8 months pregnant, but she just stays 8 months pregnant because time is not working. It's winter, but it just stays winter. It doesn't change. And like this kid is trying to figure out, what he wants to do because he has all the time in the world essentially. And he gets introduced to this other character who's a little strange. It's like this child, and he gets attached to the child, names the child, and they start figuring things out. And once he gets closer to the child, you start seeing gaps in the world where he can see the outside world because the world outside is still going on. And it's pretty cool. I thought it was really cool. It was different than, the usual anime of, we're going to kill each other in swords that I like, but it was a different vibe, different take on the anime. I'm also doing a rewatch of old cartoons. I did my X-Men rewatch. Last year I posted on my X-Men season 1 to season 5. X-Men 97 is coming out next month, March, right? March 20th it comes out. I'm excited. They say it's going to be weekly drops. I can't wait. It's on Wednesdays. I wish it was Saturdays where they would drop it every, Saturday morning, but it's Wednesdays. Weekly drops of X-Men 97. So I did my rewatch of that series. First 3 seasons are incredible. It falls off in 4 and 5. X-Men 97 is picking up at the end of season 5. And if you don't know, in season 5, the end of the X-Men cartoon, Professor X, I forgot, one of those people shot him with like this beam and it messed with his mind. And he was like in a coma. And so they call Lilandra down, and Lilandra, she comes down and she's like, only our medicine can help him, and we gotta take him away. In order to call Lilandra, the X-Men went to Genosha to see Magneto. Like, yo, and Magneto's about to wash them again. He was ready to kill him. He was like, they're like, yo, we here because Charles is sick. And Magneto is like, all right, I'll come. And it's emotional, like, because you spent the time with these characters, and it's emotional, and everybody's crying, and they're able to wake him up, and he says his goodbye, and it's like, my X-Men, and Magneto's crying, and they bring Lilandra down, and it's a clip in the trailer where they all standing there looking up, and that's them, saying goodbye to Charles or whatever. So it's supposed to pick up from there, with some different X-Men, but at some point Magneto is going to kind of be the new Xavier. So I'm excited about that. But I've been watching the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s as well. I finished the first 3 seasons, and just like the X-Men, these first 3 seasons are crazy. Like Spider-Man is like this show is it's wild. Like I didn't understand it as a kid because the cartoon came on, I watched it, and then it'd be like to be continued. And it's like, oh man, I can't wait to watch the next episode. I didn't understand the seasons and how many episodes are in the season right now. With Spider-Man, it's probably like 13, 14 in the season. But he had Venom in the first season. He had Nick Fury in the first season, not to mention like Doc Ock, Kingpin is always there. Then like in the second season, he turns into the Spider. You had the X-Men. He crossed over with the X-Men. Punisher was there. Blade showed up. Morbius showed up. And this is all in season 2, just like back to back to back. You just getting all these bangers with all these characters. Season 3, you get Doctor Strange. Like it was just, you get Iron Man. Venom comes back. Carnage. War Machine is there. Like they're playing the hits in this animated series. So I'm having fun rewatching those. I want to start Gargoyles because I never finished it as a kid. I remember watching it, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't coming on anymore. I looked at it on Disney Plus. The first season is like 12 episodes. Season 2 is like 50-something episodes. And then season 3 is like 13 episodes. Something like that. It's weird. So I'm going to watch that. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to finish that because it's a lot of episodes. But also The Brother's Son on Netflix. I keep hearing good things about it. I want to check it out. Haven't got a chance to start it because I started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender live action. I'm on episode 6. It's 8 episodes. They're 45 to an hour. When I watched the first 3, I made a quick reel. I said the first 3 episodes, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It was okay. It was better than the live action Yu Yu Hakusho that I watched. After watching 3 more episodes, I'm like, it's not hitting. It doesn't have that joy that you got with Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I think like the creators were saying like, hey, they're not doing side missions in this show. So it's just like gloomy all the time. Like Aang is not Aang, like he's a kid, but he has a big responsibility, but they're not blending the two together where it feels like he's a kid. And then it's like, yo, you got to do this. And he's like, oh man, all right. Yeah, I got to do it. It doesn't feel like that right now. So it's teetering, going lower than okay right now. The bending just in the beginning, it looked cool. In that first opening scene, with the earth bending and, firebender, I was like, oh, this looked all right. Now, seeing more earth bending, I'm like, I'm not feeling it. And the kids can't act. That doesn't help the situation. They're terrible actors, like all of them. Like, no, none of them are doing a really good job. Zuko, probably, but like I don't like Iroh. Like he just, I don't know. Live action anime is just not. It's not hitting right now. So 6 episodes in, okay, and getting worse, I would say. So for those who want to check out Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's what my thought process is right now. They cut 2-ish animated episodes down to 8. I was salty. He took out so many. Yes. Yeah, 22. There was 22 episodes. I know I can understand the cutting it down because those episodes were like 20 minutes. And these episodes are like 45 minutes. But the joy, like the jokes, like Sokka is not. I know they said they took out his misogynistic jokes or whatever, but he's not funny. Like none of the jokes are hitting. And I'm just like watching it, like, yeah, okay, the story's going along, like, okay, but it's just, I don't know, I don't feel it. Like, been saying we don't need live action adaptation. We don't, and they just said they're about to do Naruto live action, and it's like you don't need to do these things. You can make it like I'd rather you just spin off do the anime and just do a movie afterwards. Like now they're saying they're doing an Avatar movie based on the animation where they're like in their 20s. It's like you should have did that a long time ago. We don't need it live action. It's just not going to hit the same. It's not going to be as they did the cabbage thing, and I was like, why? It just, oh man, like I was. It's supposed to be funny. It's not funny. Like even him meeting with Boomy, it's just he wasn't funny. He was trying to tell jokes. He was trying to tell the jokes, but it wasn't hitting. And I was just like, this is not it. And I was upset watching Yu Yu Hakusho, because that's my favorite anime. But like, I watched last time I watched Avatar animated was like during the pandemic with my nephew. I watched it with him, and then I watched Korra. So I'm not like a super Avatar fan where I know everything that happens, but I'm like watching it, like the joy of him being a kid and doing stuff. Like we're not getting a lot of time with Momo and Appa either. I don't know if it's because it costs too much, but give me more of that. It's not working. The live action stuff is definitely not working right now, and it's unfortunate. And I like I said before, with Madam Web and stuff. I know people cut the check. I'll be in your thing, But like these kids they're not great at all. They're just not great. It's just like, ugh. Like Aang is, it's better than the movie. I know people act, oh, is it better than the movie? And they couldn't get the character's name right in the movie. Of course, it's better than the movie. And like, yes, that's a low bar to clear. It's better than the movie, but I don't know. It's not there. I don't know. I haven't finished the first season, so I don't know exactly where. It's probably going to end at the Water Nation or whatever. But it's not hitting like you would want an Avatar show to hit. It doesn't have that fun. It seems like I've been talking for a while. Netflix recommendations, right? So, like I said earlier, people are always asking, "Yo, what should I watch on Netflix?" Or they'll say like, "Oh, I have nothing to watch," and that's not true. You have 5 streaming services. There's plenty of things to watch. You just gotta maybe step out of your comfort zone, right? So I made a little list, and I don't even really like doing lists like that, right? I broke it up into categories, and yes, some of these categories they can cross over, right? So things you can watch with your kids. Can you watch it alone? Of course, but I know people have kids. Anime, TV shows, movies, and then we have foreign language things and a bunch of different foreign languages, going from like Korean to French, Spanish, different things like that. So I'm not going to talk about everything, and this is not the whole list. I just threw some things together that are slightly different that I want people to check out, because I spoke to Tej earlier. Shout out to Tej, and I recommended The Child to her, and it's a Korean movie. It was on my list of like things you should check out last year. Instead of doing like a top 10, I did a whole like, these are movies I think you should check out, or TV shows I think you should check out, because they were really dope. So I was trying to be different, and I recommended The Child, and she hit me up today and she was like, I watched The Child, and it was so cool. And I just love, like, and it put a big smile on my face, because I love things like that, where it's just like, here's something you should check out. You maybe don't even know about it. Watch this and let me know what you think. It may not be for you. You may not like it, but the fact that she watched it and she really enjoyed it, that's like super dope. And The Child, again, I don't know where it's streaming at, but The Child is dope. It's really dope. And I can't spoil anything about it, so I won't talk about it. Anyway, let's talk about some of these recommendations. Like I said, they can fit in different categories. You can watch them by yourself. I'm going to highlight some things in each category. Watch with your kids. Kipo is probably my favorite Netflix series ever. It's 3 seasons. You follow Kipo. She's a young girl. She is a burrow girl, meaning she grew up underground. They don't say what year it is or whatever, but basically the humans live in burrows. And on the surface, things have changed dramatically. Animals are huge. You have toads walking around in suits. You have big giant bunnies. There's a big monkey walking around. It's a whole bunch of weird stuff. You have a pig with like 6 eyes. You have wolves that's just super smart into astronomy and stuff like that. It's all weird. Kipo comes to the surface for the first time in her life, and she is just like in a whole different place. and she's just doing things her own. She's super smart, and she over the course of the show she comes across other humans, makes friends with them, and she's looking for her dad because her burrow got destroyed and she can't find her dad. So, she's trying to find her dad. And on the way, she also meets mutes, and those are the mutated animals and stuff. And a lot of them are like, you're a burrow girl. We want to capture you. We want to kill you. But then she makes friends with some of them. The timber cats are some of the funny people. They're cats, and they walk around with little axes and stuff. It's a cute show, but it's about, finding family and finding friends and, making sacrifices, doing the right thing to save people. It's a dope show. When I was working with kids, I showed it to like a group of 3rd and 4th graders. They loved it. I showed it to a group of 7th and 8th graders. They loved it. It's one of those shows that's just super dope. These two right here, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous and Fast and Furious Spy Racers, they remind me of Saturday morning cartoons. That's why I really enjoyed them. Jurassic is 5 seasons, Fast and Furious 6 seasons. They're like 20-minute episodes, but they have endings. They have a beginning and end. Like Fast and Furious, like every season they're in a different location, and it's like the movies where they're doing crazy things. They're just kids as a team. I want to say the main character, Tony, he's like Dom's nephew or something like that, or cousin, whatever. He's related to Dom. Vin Diesel shows up in like the first episode and like later on in the season, but they do different missions. They start off in LA, of course, and then they just travel to different places and stopping bad guys. Again, if it's like a Saturday morning type cartoon, I really enjoyed it. Same thing with Jurassic World, where these kids get an opportunity to go to Jurassic World, all for different reasons. Like the main character is this black kid right here. I can't think of his name, but he's like super smart. He's into dinosaurs. Another one is a rich kid. His dad works there or whatever. Another girl is she's like a YouTuber streamer type person. I think her name is Brooklyn, and she has a lot of followers, so she's able to go, and things go wrong. And, they get left on the island, and all they got to survive against dinosaurs. They got to survive against humans. Pretty cool show. It's dope. Glitch Text is for like people who like games. It's about glitches in games. And these two kids are gamers, and eventually they end this tournament, and a big glitch comes, and the glitch are like, it might be a giant bunny destroying your game, and they have to subdue the glitches. Fun show. Watch with your kids, watch it alone. Glitch Tech is 2 seasons, but Kipo I highly recommend just to check out. In terms of anime, I didn't put a whole bunch of stuff on there because, people were, with their anime, people were just, they want to bite your head off. Blue Eye Samurai is probably the best thing here. Came out recently. Recommended it to a few people. They really enjoyed it. It's a dope show. Kotaro Lives Alone. You're going to love this kid. I recommended it to a few people, and they're like, man, this is emotional. Kotaro is just, he's a little kid living by himself, and he has some neighbors that are adults, and he be, like, they're trying to look out for him, but he be dropping gems on the adults, and it's really good. Scissor 7, 4 seasons, kind of silly. He is a hairstylist, and he has, like, these magic scissors that he can control. He's a terrible hairstylist, but he's also signed up to be an assassin. And it's like they have rankings, and he's like one of the worst assassins. But he keeps getting jobs and somehow completing them, even though he's terrible. But he used to be a really great assassin, but he lost his memory. It's dope. It's silly. There's a talking chicken that follows him around and helps him out. But I really enjoy it. When they do get into the combat, it's cool. But there's going to be a lot of silly stories. It's shorter episodes. They're probably like 15 minutes, but enjoyable. Then you have like Baki, which is the regular Baki, and then you have Baki Hanma. Baki Hanma is more focused on Baki. The original Baki, it's more so about all the fighters that's in this universe coming together to fight to the death, essentially. Both really, really cool. I want to say they're both like 3 seasons. Baki Hanma just ended with him, fighting his father finally. Cool. Levitz, it's about boxing. It's like metal boxing. Only 1 season. I watched it a few years ago, but I enjoyed it. Pretty cool. If you just want people to fight, Kangen the Shore is that. There's like 2 seasons. They did it in parts. So it's like season one, part two, and then season two, part one. Um, it's all about fighting. It's some tournament. You go in there, you fight life or death. They do the whole highlight the characters, show you their special moves, show you their background and stuff like that. In terms of like quality, it's not as good as like Baki and stuff, but I just like the fighting that they get into and like some of the techniques. Regular TV shows, a lot of people know Atypical. Um, he has he's on the spectrum and he is learning how to live life essentially. Like he wants to do things on his own. Like Sam is really smart. He loves penguins. That's why I rock with him. But throughout the seasons, it's 4 seasons, he wants to take on more responsibilities. You know, like he has a sister there. She gives him a hard time, but she really loves him. His dad, you know, and his mom are there, take care of him, always have things on schedule. But he starts stepping out. Like, you know, he wants to date this girl. He wants to go to college. He has his best friend. He wants to live away from home and do different things. And that's like what each season is about. He's taking on different responsibilities. There's different things happening in his household, you know, with his sister, discovering her sexuality, things happening with his parents. And Sam just is working his way through. It's not always smooth, but he keeps trying to find a way. It's a cool show, and it does have an ending. You know, 4 seasons. It didn't get canceled or anything. It ended. Lost in Space, 3 seasons. Took a while for season 3 to come out. Decent show. It's a spin. It's a remake of the old Lost in Space. Cool. Night Agent and The Recruit. I would say they're like cousins. Basically, 2 government people. They have like they're low on the totem pole in terms of things, but they get pulled into something much deeper. They're like cousins. I would say Night Agent, a little bit more action, but I enjoy both of them. They're on Netflix, 1 season, but Night Agent, it got renewed for season 2. Night Agent, I gotta finish it. Yeah, finish it. It's cool. It was fine. That like The Recruit is fine too. Obliterated, they just canceled this show. I put out a review probably a couple weeks ago. It takes place in Vegas. It's basically like a team of different like military people. They're supposed to stop this nuke in Vegas. They stop the nuke and they're like, we about to throw this crazy party. We still in Vegas and the party is insane. I'm talking about all types of drugs, mushrooms, weed, drinks, everything. A camel. It's crazy. Everybody's drunk doing all this different stuff. And then they get a call like, oh yeah, that wasn't the real nuke. The real nuke is still out there. And they're like, what? And I'm talking about coked up. Like one guy passes out because he did so many drugs and they have to finish the mission. They don't have time to like get sober. So they just like going out there to try to, finish the mission. I thought it's over the top, raunchy, M-rated, naked, nudity, all that stuff going out. And it was so unserious. I enjoyed it, but it got canceled. So it was only 1 season. My second favorite thing on Netflix in terms of TV shows might be Lovesick. I watched it a bunch of times, 3 seasons. A guy, he finds out he has syphilis, right? And the doctor, he's like, I got to tell. The doctor's like, yo, you got to tell everybody you had sex with. So he's like, okay. And he makes a list and he tells his best friend, Luke. And he's like, every episode, we flash back to like somebody he slept with, and he does in like alphabetical order. So like the first one is like Abby or whatever. And then you see, it might be like 3 years ago and you see him meeting her and when they sleep. And then like it flashes forward and you see him on a call to tell someone, yeah, you guys, you might have syphilis. And they're like, I got checked, stuff like that. But it's funny. It has the friendship aspect because Evie is their best friend, but like he loves Evie and stuff like that, but they don't always, work out. It's funny. Side characters are funny. 3 seasons. It took a while for season 3 to come out, but I really love the show. It's one of those comfort shows you put on, and you just laugh like, oh, I remember this episode. On My Block, Free Ridge, and On My Block. On My Block is the original 4 seasons. Pretty good. Free Ridge is a spinoff. Same city, same school. Different characters. Some of the people from season 1 are mentioned. Some of them show up. Cool show. Imperfects. These 3 kids they're like taking meds and they kind of have powers. It's a little weird. In terms of movies, I didn't Trust me, I could have put a whole bunch of other movies on here. I went with weird stuff, out of the box stuff that most people probably won't check out. And I tried to hit different genres. I know people like rom coms. Holiday, great rom com. They need dates for different holidays. So it starts off with like Christmas. Neither one of them, they go on like terrible dates, and then they start bringing each other to different dates, on the calendar. Cool. Very raunchy though. Like it. The half of it, another rom com type thing. The Vault it's it's like a smaller Ocean's 11. They have this plan, and it stars the guy from The Good Doctor, and he was in a Bates Motel. Him and Davos from Game of Thrones. If you ever seen that, he's also in this. But they plan to rob this bank during, like, I think Spain is playing in the World Cup or something like that. So that's their distraction. So kind of like how Ocean's 11 had the boxing match, they have this soccer match where during the soccer match everybody is in the street watching the match. So like that's the big distraction as they want to break into this vault. And the dude from The Good Doctor, he's like this crazy smart engineer type guy, and he doesn't want to take on like any other job. It's kind of like Good Will Hunting, when Will's going through these interviews, he's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's how he is in this movie. And then he finally gets approached by this guy, like, yo, I need you to help me break into a bank. It's solid. If you like John Wick type stuff, Polar came out a few years ago. I want to say like 2019. Mads Mikkelsen. He is this hitman. He's freaking great. And he's like, yeah, I'm retiring. I'm done. And his company is like, he's a liability. We need to kill him. So he like leaves and goes to retire, and they send people to try to kill him. And he has to, do his thing. Rim of the world's ending, and you got these 4 kids. I think they were like at a camp, and they have to bond together. It's one of those, kids cursing type movies. It's cool. Fundamental of caring. It's old. It's fairly old, but basically, what is Ant-Man's name? I can't even think of his name. Anyway, Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, he gets this job to take care of this kid in a wheelchair. And, at first they bump heads. And then, he makes fun of the kid in the wheelchair. The kid makes fun of him. And they start bonding together. He tries to take him out on this journey to experience different things because he's been stuck in the wheelchair. Now, the meat and potatoes of this whole stream and this whole thing. Step out of your comfort zone in terms of watching stuff. People watch the same thing. Just like how when you game, people game the same thing. Call of Duty, Madden, 2K. Call of Duty, Madden, 2K, maybe some Fortnite. Like, step out of your comfort zone. So I don't always recommend foreign stuff because I'll let them know, like, yo, this is in a foreign language, and people will get turned off. Can you watch these in English? Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, you can. Are they all good in English? No, some of them are bad. So like I say in my reviews, if it's more drama type stuff, I want to watch in that language because the impact is there a little bit more. If it's like an action thing, like the Night Comes for Us, it's more action. You can watch it in English. The conversation is not really important. This is an action flick. You're going to get some action. I believe the guy from what's the name is in here, The Raid. Cool action flick. The Trip, funny. Married couple, they go on a trip and they want to kill each other. So they're telling their friends like scenarios of how they're going to like cover up the murder. So like, I believe the guy is like, yeah, we're going to go hiking. Oh no, we're going to go hunting, and she don't really know how to hunt. And it's going to be an accident that I shoot her or something like that. And then like the wife is like, yeah, we're going to go out to sea and something's going to happen and I'm going to kill him like that. And then they get together and they're trying to plan this out to kill each other. And then something else happens. Crazy. Extreme, another one you can watch in English. It's fighting. It's like a revenge story. Lots of fighting. Lots of fighting happens. RRR, I've reviewed this before, is crazy, like Bollywood type movie, musical, action, sadness. It's sick. It's like 3 hours. It's really sick. My Name is a Korean TV show. It's only 1 season so far. She's like 17. Her birthday It's her birthday, and her dad was like a criminal, and she has like cops following her outside her home all the time. Like, yo, when your dad gonna come so we can arrest him? And that night, he shows up to wish her happy birthday, and he's killed like right in front of the door. So she grows up to be a cop to figure out what happened to her dad. Pretty dope. It's cool. Red Dot. I recommend this to a lot of people. Nobody really checks it out. This couple, they're having a little problems in their marriage. They're like, yeah, we need to rekindle this thing or whatever. We're going to go to this resort or something. And it's an interracial couple. So when they get there, you know, they're saying certain things. And they're like, all right, we're going to go see the lights or whatever. And they go out to camp, and the lights look beautiful. And while they're there, I want to say they had a dog or something. And then the dog is barking, and boom, the dog stops barking. They're like, what's that? And then boom, a red dot shows up. And people are trying to kill them, and they don't know why. And when they figure out why, it's freaking dope. It's really good. What else? Lost Bullet. It's 2 movies, 1 and 2. It's in French. This guy, he likes to make ram cars. Basically, put something on front of the car and ram it into things, mainly walls, to steal stuff. So he's a criminal. He gets in trouble. And it's one of those, can you help me? So the cop is like, yo, I need you to help me out. And he's like, all right, cool. And it's like him helping the cop out, and the cop, you know, showing faith in him, and him, you know, he's trying to do the right thing. And there's some corruption going on in the police force. It's all right. Part 2 is, he's a little bit more powerful in this one, in part 2, but it's more of the same, just, you know, slick action with cars, because he likes to really freak out some cars, and that part is dope. I'm gonna try Red Dot. Yeah, try Red Dot. I can't remember what language it's in, but it's cool. It's one of those, I don't want to spoil, but it's dope. With Sean, Kingdom was Kingdom, and I'm not a zombie person, but I'm gonna talk about these zombies, right? Kingdom, somebody at work one time was like, yo, watch Kingdom. And when people recommend stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I watched Kingdom. I think it's 2 seasons. It's crazy. Like, it's zombies, but they only come out at night. And it's like this prince was supposed to, you know, he's supposed to take over. The king was supposed to be dead, but like they manipulated the king and everything. And the prince has to go out to figure out, you know, what's going on. And somebody dies. And they're like, oh, all right, this person is dead. And it's daytime. But then when the nighttime comes, the person wakes up. And they're like, what is going on? And it's like a whole bunch of these zombies that wake up at night. And it's only, I think it's like a flower or something that can like protect them. But it gets kind of crazy. It's really good. And I'm not a big zombie type person. The next zombie thing, All of Us Are Dead, Korean, takes place in a school. They don't call them zombies, but like this guy is doing experiments. He has like this experimental rat. Some kid gets bit. She starts, you know, freaking out. You know, she's real cold, and, you know, she looked weird. And they're like, oh, let's take her to the nurse. She goes to the nurse. She scratches someone. They take her out to the world, into a hospital. And then the nurse is in there like, oh, okay, something is wrong. And the nurse starts freaking out. And people are like walking around recording it. And she starts attacking kids. And then those kids start attacking kids. And this is a Korean school. It's not like a small school. They have like a campus. So imagine a whole campus, just zombies everywhere. So you have different kids. You know, you have your groups, your jocks, you know, your bullies, whatever. Some of these kids have to start like chilling together and talking through things and, you know, dealing with like, yo, you bullied me, or I don't talk to you, or I like you. And they come together and they stuck in the school while the zombie that got outside is biting people out there. So now they're freaking out there, like, what's going on? So it's like twofold. You got the people in the school, you got the people in the city dealing with these zombies and stuff. And then it's like a twist that happens in this particular show. Don't want to ruin it. And it's like really good. I hope for a season 2. Yeah, still waiting on a season 3. Like with some of these shows, you're just not going to, I don't know. Like it's unfortunate that you're not going to get multiple seasons. And I don't know. It's just unfortunate. I'd be hoping like they just green light it. Like, yo, get us season 1 and season 2, you know, at least finish the story. Into the Night, I don't know if you watch From. My roommate had me watching From, and this kind of reminds me of it. Basically, sunlight kills you. They don't know why. They never explain why because there's only 2 seasons. But it's one of those shows where you get views of everybody, you know, here and there to start it, and you're like, okay, this person seems important. This person seems important. They all get on a plane. This guy hijacks the plane. He's like, we got to get out of here. We got to go. We got to go away from the sun, or we're gonna die. They're like, what? And he like pulls the gun on the pilot. They fly off, and they see people dying because of the sun, and they just go off, and they're trying to get to a bunker and all these locations to figure out what's going on. First season was really like tense because you don't know, like they're trying to refuel a plane, and it gets real crazy. People have their own hidden agendas. You start seeing flashbacks of people, what they was doing before and why they were on the plane. It gets real crazy. Season 2, they go to another location with some other people, and they can't be trusted. So it's real crazy. But again, we only got 2 seasons. Don't know when it's coming back. Athena is sick. I forget what language it's in, but watch it in that language, whatever it is. I want to say it's French. But you have 4 siblings, right? The youngest sibling is killed by like the police. So one sibling is a cop, and he's trying to create order, talk to the community. The other sibling is like into drugs and selling stuff illegally. And then the third sibling, who we follow for the majority of the movie, he is ready to go to war. So I don't know what it's called out there, but it's like, imagine an apartment complex. He has the whole apartment complex ready to go to war with the cops. Just imagine like the raid, how that complex was run by that guy. That's what this kid has. He has everybody in there ready to go to war with the cops. And they break into the police station like to start the movie off. And they start taking like their guns and everything. So the cops are going to come for them. And then you have the brothers involved. Like, yo, what are we going to do? And the cop wants to talk to the younger brother, and the younger brother doesn't want to deal with the older brother. It's like, it's real intense and violent. I like the way it was shot. What else can I talk about before I get out of here? I think, Wandering Earth right here. This is part 1. Part 1 is on Netflix. Part 2 is on Peacock. Part 2, you cannot put in English. Part 1, I think you can. But it's about them pushing the Earth. It's like sci-fi, but disaster. Part 2 is a prequel to this one, but it's really dope. I recommended it last year. Part 1, you're following this kid, and his father is on like the space station because they had this whole plan called the Wandering Earth to create these jet engines and put them on Earth to push the Earth away from like destruction. And they were going to use the gravitational pull from Jupiter to like slingshot and go away. Part 1 is sick, and the kid he has like a little sister that they adopted, and he's trying to get these engines running so they can keep moving. Part 2 is a prequel where you meet the father and you see everything that the nations have gone through in terms of getting to the Wandering Earth project. I would say part 2 is more emotional. You can watch part 1 first and still enjoy part 2 because you start putting the pieces together, and it's dope. Black Crab, it's a mission. They have this mission. It's a war going on, and they have to cross like ice. Like the only way they can get across the territory is to wear ice skates and skate across the ice while people are trying to kill them and stop them from delivering this package. AKA seems to be really popular on TikTok now for me. It started off with like a couple hundred views, but now every time I look on there, somebody's adding it to a favorite or watching it or, liking it. But you have this guy, I think his name is Adam. He is Black Ops. Yeah, we need you to go in here and kill something. All right. So when we meet him, he's undercover going somewhere and he kills somebody. So they're like, we need you to go undercover. Somebody bombed Paris or something like that. And he uses a bit of his real life to go undercover. Like he did some stuff when he was younger, and he was like, yeah, I did this. I went to jail, blah, blah, blah. And he gets in with his family, and he gets close to like the son. The son is really like the outcast. Nobody really pays attention to him. And while he's doing his mission, sometimes something comes up with the son, because like the rivals are trying to get at the boss and everything. So he might have to stop doing his mission to protect the kid and stuff like that. It was dope. And this guy right here, he's the star of Lost Bullet as well. A lot of crossover with these four movies. Below Zero is cool. It's like this police escort, and something happened in the past. So they escorting these prisoners, and it's super cold outside, and the prison van gets attacked. So they can't see who's attacking them because it's pitch black. Plus, it's freezing. And then you have criminals in the van, so it's like a standoff type thing. And decisions have to be made because they have like dirt on the people that's working. Like, hey, we got your kid out here, or we got access to your wife. Are you gonna let this prisoner go? Yada yada yada, and it gets intense, but it's cool. Japan Sinks TV show, 1 season. Natural disaster hits Japan. It's one of those animes where it's family focus. So they're trying to recover after the devastation, make tough choices as they, trying to figure out where they're going to live next. And it's enjoyable. I would say that it's enjoyable. Anything else on this list that I want to talk about? Let's see. Oh, Today We Fixed the World. So Today We Fixed the World. It's cute. Basically, this guy right here, his son, he's always out. So he doesn't really take care of his son. And then the mom drops him off and is like, you're going to take care of him. Oh, yeah, he's not your kid. So the guy's like, what? And they're like, he's not your kid. So him and the kid start looking for the kid's father. And as they're doing that, they get closer and stuff. It's cool. I enjoyed it. It was dope. But these are just some recommendations. Like I said, this is the most recent that I watched, Ginseng Creatures on Netflix. Really good. These episodes are like an hour and some change. Like Korean episodes be long. So most of these TV shows, they be like an hour. But it's really good. Step out of your comfort zone. So if I recommend something, check it out. Watch it because it's different. It's not going to be the same things that you're, used to watching. But these are some recommendations I'm going to post in the chat and everything, like reviews for all of these shows. And they all on Netflix. They're pretty good things. I have a whole like other list of things, but I didn't want to make it too long. And I didn't think I was going to talk this long. 1 hour and 17 minutes. Thank you for everyone who came into the chat, made comments. Thank you for everybody that checked it out. I don't really do these a lot, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do more of live chats. I don't know if I always want to make a list like this. A little daunting coming up with a list like this, but I don't know. If I have something to talk about, I'll come up with something. But thank you again for watching. Thank you for checking out. Thank you for leaving comments. And, keep being great. Deuces.